The concern about the lifting of the ban on genetically modified organisms in Kenya is set to spark a new debate and backlash among Kenyans as the High Court makes ruling concerning the same. Welcome back to my YouTube channel if you are new here. I am Bravine Omondi. In a landmark ruling on Thursday, the High Court in Kenya dismissed all cases challenging the government's decision to lift the ban on genetically modified organisms, GMOs, in the country. This ruling, delivered by Justice Lawrence Mugambai at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi, follows intense debate and legal battles that began after President William Ruto issued an executive order lifting the ban on GMOs in October 2022. The cases before the High Court were lodged by various groups, including the Law Society of Kenya (LSK), which expressed concerns over the potential health risks associated with GMOs and their impact on the environment. The LSK and other petitioners argued that allowing GMO cultivation and consumption posed serious risks to public health and was not in the best interests of the Kenyan people. However, Justice Mugambai's decision has now struck down these petitions, citing a lack of evidence to support the claims of harm posed by GMOs. Kenya imposed a ban on the cultivation and importation of GMOs in 2012, following concerns over their safety and potential environmental impact. At the time, the government argued that there was insufficient evidence to guarantee the safety of GMOs for human consumption and the environment. However, in October 2022, President Ruto signed an executive order reversing the 10-year-old ban. This decision was made in the context of a cabinet resolution, which emphasized the need to address food security challenges in Kenya by adopting modern agricultural technologies, including GMOs. The dismissal of the cases opposing GMOs marks a significant step toward solidifying the Kenyan government's stance on biotechnology in agriculture. Supporters argue that lifting the ban on GMOs could help alleviate food insecurity, which remains a pressing concern in Kenya. By adopting genetically modified crops, which are often engineered to withstand drought and pests, proponents believe Kenya can boost agricultural productivity and reduce reliance on food imports. However, the debate over GMOs is far from over. Public sentiment remains divided, with a significant portion of the population skeptical of GMO safety. Concerns range from the potential for unknown health effects to the fear that GMOs could lead to the monopolization of seeds by multinational corporations, thus undermining the autonomy of Kenyan farmers. The High Court's ruling may also reinvigorate discussions on the adequacy of Kenya's regulatory frameworks for GMOs. While Justices Mugambai and Angot emphasized the robustness of existing regulations, the pending Environmental Impact Assessment license from NEMA highlights a gap that some argue should be addressed before GMOs are fully integrated into Kenya's food system. As Kenya moves forward with the integration of GMOs into its agricultural sector, questions around consumer choice, labeling, and public awareness will likely become more prominent. Many Kenyans remain uncertain about what GMOs entail, and the lack of mandatory labeling could pose challenges for consumers who wish to avoid genetically modified products. The High Court's decision is expected to provide momentum to proponents of GMOs, who argue that modern agricultural technology is essential for Kenya's food security. Nonetheless, the ruling may not silence the voices of those calling for more cautious and thorough risk assessments before GMOs are widely adopted in the country. In conclusion, while the court's decision represents a legal victory for the proponents of GMOs, the broader societal debate on biotechnology and food safety in Kenya is set to continue. This ruling could serve as a catalyst for both increased adoption of GMOs and heightened scrutiny of Kenya's regulatory and safety standards, as the country seeks to balance food security with public health and environmental protection. The government's decision to lift the ban was met with mixed reactions. Supporters of the move, including some agricultural experts and farmers, argued that GMOs could help boost food production, reduce the cost of farming inputs, and make crops more resistant to drought and pests. On the other hand, critics, including environmental groups and sections of the public, warned of potential health risks and environmental degradation. This opposition led to a series of court cases aimed at reversing the executive order. In dismissing the petitions, Justice Mugambai referenced a previous decision by the Environment and Land Court, which had already addressed similar concerns in 2023. In that case, Justice Oscar Angot, presiding at the Environment Court, ruled against the LSK's arguments, concluding that there was no substantial evidence linking GMOs to health risks. Justice Mugambai agreed with this assessment, stating that the matter had been fairly resolved and there was no basis for further legal challenges. Justice Mugambai emphasized the doctrine of residential judicature, which prevents the same issue from being litigated more than once if it has been conclusively settled. In view of the above, the court hereby finds that the current petition is residential judicature, he stated, adding that there would be no cost implications for the petitioners. This ruling reinforces the Environment Court's decision, which highlighted the regulatory frameworks in place to manage the risks associated with GMOs. In his 2023 ruling, Justice Angot highlighted the existence of robust frameworks within Kenya's regulatory institutions to manage the introduction and handling of GMOs. These frameworks, he noted, include measures designed to safeguard public health and the environment. Justice Angot pointed out that, apart from the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, which has yet to issue an environmental impact assessment license, other institutions have affirmed that adequate safeguards are in place. He dismissed the suggestion that the institutions tasked with regulating GMOs would collectively risk the health and safety of Kenyans. With all these institutions, save for NEMA, which has not issued an environmental impact assessment license, we should be confident that our health and environment are in good hands. It cannot be true that they have all conspired to expose the rest of the population to the calamities alluded to in the petition, at least not from the evidence on record, Justice Angot stated.